Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Digital Painting Art Show. My name is Jesus Conde, and today we're going to be drawing Olaf from the Frozen movie. And we're also going to be painting it. We're going to see how to make that snow texture, kind of like a magic thing. And it's going to be really cartoony style, so for those who like cartoon style, this is really good for them. Also, I wanted to remind you that I'm giving away all my PSDs to my Patreons, which is just $2 a month for all the PSDs that I do for every tutorial that I'm doing from now on. I'm going to give it away every weekend, the PSD and a video of 1 hour length. So that's that, and let's get started with the tutorial. So I'm going to start drawing kind of like a triangular shape, but inverted, and we also need like a starting point for the mouth. I'm going to do these 2 points for the mouth, and I'm going to make a curve to join those 2 points, and where the eyes are going to start from, and kind of like the forehead. I need to know the shape of the head, but we're going to think about volume. I was going to draw the eye, but I needed to know where the middle is, so now I'm going to do a line for the middle, and then I can draw the eyes more easy. That's one way to do it. Then when I do the sketches, I do it like in 3 parts. So this is the first part, is like trying to know where everything is going to be placed. So I needed to know where the nose come from, which is a carrot, if I said it correctly. I needed to know where the nose come from, and you have to imagine it like in volume of shapes, like empty shapes, but they have the volume in there. And here I'm doing the teeth, kind of like with the line of the middle. And then after I do this kind of like a really basic sketch, I kind of know what to do next. For example, here I know that the right cheek of his, which is the left that we see, the left cheek, is a bit too close to the nose. The eyes are kind of like oval shape, and they should be more round. The only thing that is looking kind of good is the overall shape and the mouth a little, but it really doesn't look like him. It really doesn't look like him at all. So now what I do is I use this like a guide, and now I start kind of doing more cleaner lines, like a little more clean, because I need to know what I'm missing here, what shape am I doing wrong, and I'm going to start comparing to the original one. For me, it's a bit difficult to do this kind of drawing with reference, but with the time you kind of develop the technique of doing it. So what I figured out for me was easier is to have a lot of information going on. Like once I have kind of the drawing closest as I can get it to be, I start do some improvements at the end. So let's see what that is about in few seconds. So right now I'm only just tracing my own sketch, and then what I'm going to do is just use the grab tool, which I'm going to explain later, so don't worry about that. And I noticed that once I put the little hairs on the head, which are actually sticks, it looked more like it, but it definitely still doesn't look a lot like him. So the first difference is here in the lip. It has to be more open, more like a less round shape, and here needed to be a little bit more like this, and the cheek should be more round, the eye should be more round, and also bigger, but we'll see about that in a few seconds. So the benefit of doing it digitally is that you also have a lot of advantages, like what we're going to see in a few seconds. You see what I'm talking about. So once I have this, what I do is just take what I have and try to modify it to make it look more like the original, more like the version that I want to get. So the eyes should be a little bit more bigger or more round, or place them, put it in a different place, stuff like that. Also the cheek, as I was telling you, needs to be a little bit more open, and the head is also a little bit more you have to scale it, like on the sides is bigger. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take all this part and I'm going to go to image, transform, grab, and then I can grab that part and make it a little bit more like the original one. So it's starting to look more like it. It doesn't look exactly like it yet, but it definitely some improvement there. So that's what we want. So here I'm going to explain a few things that you need to know before starting. First thing is the brush that I'm going to use, which is really soft. One of the brushes, because the other one we always use it, so this one is the kind of different. So I'm going to use any color here. I'm going to pick a soft brush, but the thing with the soft brush is that it comes with no opacity. I mean, is constant. You just grab it, and if you do something, it just stays that way. It doesn't change the opacity with the pressure. So we're going to change that. So we press F5 to get the brush settings, and we're going to other dynamics or transfer. If you're using the new Photoshops, you can do it in transfer. You click in there, and then the pen pressure is activated. You have to be sure the pen pressure is activated there, and then you just save the brush. You can save the brush, and there you go. You have your same brush with some opacity change because of the pressure that you're applying, and this should help a lot for what we're going to do. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about was sometimes I take the same information that I have of the color, and I just change it using the lasso tool or the selection tool, any of the selection tools, and I just take the same color and put some brightness down on it, so I can get the more darker version of it or a more clearer version of it. So I'm going to start doing this with example. I'm going to use the lasso tool, and I'm going to select few parts here. Okay, so I imagine if I select this, you're gonna see it later with the nose of the Olaf character, and go to image adjustments, brightness and contrast, and I can turn down those values and make it more darker. So that's one way to do it, and it gives me a really quick result. It's always not that realistic, but it gives you a good result for quick paintings. And for me that I work on concepts, it helps me a lot to get those values really quick. So now what I have to do is just pick that color with the eyedropper and just paint. I'm doing this just for the purpose of explaining, but of course when we're doing the character, I promise better results. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about was let me think, the grab tool. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this, and let me do it with the pen. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to go to image, to edit, transform, and warp. Here we go, and I'm just going to click in there, and then I get this grid, and it's really simple to use. It's really easy to understand. There's nothing fancy about it. Like, what you see is what you get. Just have a grid, and how you deform this grid, you get that result. That's it. I could explain you that you have the selection gizmos on the corners, but that's like too obvious. That's something that everybody knows how to use now, since we have PowerPoint. Everybody knows how to use those little squares in the edges of the image. Now at the end you just press enter, and there you go, you have your image grabbed. Okay, so we're going to start applying the base color, which is it really doesn't matter what brush you use, but I want you to notice where do I use the colors. So I'm going to start with a kind of like a darker color, and then a little bit more like a white, and I was missing some of the colors and I didn't know too much what to do, so I pull off my reference here, and I'm just going to pick the colors with the eyedropper, which is the letter I on the keyboard. And okay, so now I'm applying a little bit of shadows under the mouth, another gray color. I notice that it also has shadows on the left, so that means that the light is coming from his front, maybe a little bit up too. So we have the edges with shadow, and then a little bit of light. We have some light coming from the back, and we're gonna have this little line of white color around. As you can see, that I'm going to start doing in there. It's just a line of really white color value, and that you get that feeling of a really cute 3D animated character. That's really well, they use it more like in the posters. In the movie it shouldn't look like that all the time, but when you see stuff like that, you know it's an animated character. It looks pretty. And with the nose, what I'm going to do is take another layer. You can create layers with Ctrl Shift N. You can create a new layer, and we're going to start taking the colors for the carrot. And here that color of the eyes is just a color that I found on the edge of the eyes in the reference. You can see them in there. I have to pull from inside the mouth, the darker color, because I needed a more intense shadow. Wasn't getting it, so I just took the color of the mouth open, and it worked perfectly. Just didn't abuse of it because it will look weird. So here I took some colors from the carrot, and of course create a new layer. Don't worry about what goes off the line, because you can erase that at the end, so it doesn't really matter at all. Okay, so now that I have these colors really bright, what I'm going to do is just, well, at this point it doesn't really get too much detail, but I have to clean it. I just took the edge of that piece, just erase it, because then I like to collapse a lot my layers, so I needed to do that to collapse the layers. Here I'm putting some color in the eye, and for some reason I didn't use the normal technique that I use all the time for the eye, but anyway, this one worked. Just filling some colors. This part is really not special at all, just filling the colors of the eye. Then I have to do the eyebrows and the hair, erase all the edge of the character. So it's really more like a kind of like a I have to do process. It's not that fun, but you have to understand that it's just part of the process. You cannot skip this. So it just take a little bit of time, and that's it. So yeah, right now it's just easy stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and invite you to subscribe to my channel. If you haven't, just click in the subscribe button, and that will really help me a lot. So thanks. If you can do it, thank you very much. And well, right now I'm just applying some colors on the eyebrows, and it's basically just the wood. And for to paint the hair, which is a little sticks of wood, I gotta erase all the edge first. So that's what I'm going to do now, which is I have to resume because it's really boring and easy but boring process. Basically it's just that, erasing all what was left after the line, and that's it. That's really about it. But once we have all this done, I'm just going to go ahead and put the color on the hair, the little sticks, and then we're going to start applying some details. Well, the details are not that big in here in this painting because it's a cartoon character. It's more like a really simple shading. It actually, well, it's not as simple. It's more like it's not like when you try to do a really complex texture because it's something real. This is more like it's kind of like more fun, more, yeah, it's more simple. It's not that difficult as doing something real. And what I'm going to do here is, right now I'm fixing a little with the smudge tool, which is with the letter R on the keyboard. I was fixing a little bit of the cheek, and I'm going to add some color here on the sticks, which I need some light color. To get the light color, I'm going to use the technique that I explained you a few seconds ago, which is taking the lasso tool and putting some brightness. Before that, I'm just applying some color on the teeth. I'm using another brush because I want kind of like a different texture on it. This brush, I've been using it on my other tutorials. I use it all the time. It's a really simple brush. It's just a hard brush, like the one of the easiest one that Photoshop has. And then I just made it a little bit flat, kind of like an oval shape. And here I'm going to go ahead and do the thing that I was telling you about. I'm just selecting some parts of the sticks where I want some light, and I'm going to go ahead and click on Image, Adjustments, Brightness, and here we go. I have some bright colors that I can use to get some light on these sticks. And actually it doesn't look that bad once I just did it, because it looks kind of like how the light will kind of react in a stick, which is not constant, but it breaks in some parts and stuff like that. Here with the soft brush, I just put some dark color on the eyes, and I'm just erasing what I don't need. The parts that I don't need here, which are on the cheeks. Here we go. But most for the cartoon kind of painting. Remember to keep it in another layer, because then you can control the opacity of those layers to get different results. Here I'm applying a little bit of bounce light. Just took the color from the cheek and started to apply it under the eye, and as you can see, again I use another layer, and I'm using another layer for everything. So that's how I kind of mix a lot of my colors. If you haven't seen other videos, please do, where I explain a lot of different things. Here I'm doing the same thing that I did on the sticks, but going the opposite way, going dark. So I just select it with the lasso and then click on Image, Adjustments, Brightness, and go to the left, which is the darker colors. And now what I'm doing is doing the texture of the carrot, which is really easy actually. You just have to follow the same kind of like the same shape, because it's like a cylinder, but it's going to end on a point. That cylinder is going to end on a point, and that's what happens. You get this kind of shape, and it's also deformed, so you just have to keep that in mind. Later I'm going to add another color on the carrot and a little bit of bounce light. Here we go. I put that little orange in the shadow there because I needed a bounce light. You can see that also on the reference. A little less intense, but you can see that gives that look of, it's cartoony, but it looks realistic, like the material looks more real. But it's because of the bounce light. It's not that the material is more real, no, it's just the way that the light behaves gives you that sense of realism. When you don't feel that the light is real in your paintings, that's what it gives away that it is a painting more than anything, or that you are amateur, because you need to kind of study how the light behaves, or at least know the principles of light, and it really gives you more tools to work with. When you're doing your paintings, you achieve a level of realism and appealing that you wouldn't get if you don't use those techniques. So I really recommend you to study on some basic of lining. So here what I'm doing is just trying to get this more soft, a little bit more of blending with the colors, starting to put some details on the edges, put more rim lights, more reflection of lights, more edges, really bright edges, stuff like that, to get the look, to get the final look of the character. Then at the end, what I'm going to do is just create the brush for the final texture trick that we're going to do, which is the snowy texture, and it's going to be really cool. In the nose, I needed more like a bright color coming from the bottom. So what I'm going to do is apply a little bit more of a bright color on the nose. Here what I'm doing with the cheek is just making the volume a little more similar to the original one. Let's see. Yeah, I'm cleaning a little bit of the blending. The detail, I'm not doing it like I always do, which is with the grid, for those that have seen other tutorials. I'm just doing the simple normal way of that everybody does, which is just applying detail where it needs to have detail. Because this is not a complex character. I mean, not like it has skin, beard, or stuff like that. So it's more like you have to keep things clean. Okay, so here I grab the same color that I had and make it more saturated as possible. Here I'm also using the dodge tool, which is the letter O on the keyboard, to get a more bright color. And then I picked that new color with the eyedropper. But at the end I dimmed down that color with the erasing a little, because it was too bright. And I didn't want to look, want to look cartoony, but not that cartoony. So here we go. I think it came with a gray balance there with the colors. Don't look too much saturated, but it doesn't look that saturated to look really cartoony. I think it looks more balanced, because at the end what I want is to look, in simple words, what I wanted is to look pretty, to look appealing. So I think I achieved that with that color on the nose. Looks better, way better. I'm just trying to see if every line looks kind of good. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's a painting, but it helps if it looks good already. Okay, so I have to create a new file, 500 for 500 pixels. It's more than fine. Can be any resolution, doesn't matter. 72 to 300, and here I'm just making little dots because I need some grains of snow, some flakes, and I'm going to put a little more darker one. So you need gray dots and really dark dots. So now what I'm going to do is collapse this layer and select, so you can create a new brush. You go to edit and you go to define brush preset, and then you click OK, and you have it at the end of your brushes. Here we go. So what happened? This brush is virgin. It's like it doesn't have any change. It doesn't have any property. So you're gonna have to try it in a new canvas, in a new file, and you can compare. Here is how it looks right now. We go to F5. I'm going to put some. We need to turn off the some shape dynamics, and we're going to put more rotation on it. So the angle jitter, you want to change it. So you see the difference how it looks, and we need also other dynamics or transfer, so it looks with less opacity when we don't push the pen too hard. So now we save it, and then we can use the brush in our character. Okay, so what we're going to do with that new brush is just I'm going to take a middle color, and like not the brightest but not the more darker, and then what I'm going to do is with the letter O, which is the dodge tool, I'm going to burn with light where it needs to be, like where I need the brighter colors. I'm just going to use that brush. Of course, we're doing this in a new layer, so you're going to see the difference. When look here, I'm applying that. I'm using the dodge tool, so you can see how you get the bright colors, the bright little dots popping out from the shadow parts, but you still get the shadow looking flakes, the shadow looking grains of snow. You can call it that. And I think that really gave the touch, the ending touch to this painting, because it looks more appealing, looks more Disney-like, I think, and that's important. That's the important thing on this character, in this tutorial. Okay, so now I have to erase this and just start with the really final touches. I'm going to put a little bit of grains at the edge, as you can see in there, and I'm also using the blur tool, which is the letter R, but instead of using the little finger, we're going to use the little I don't know really how to call that in English, but it looks like water, and you can blur the edges of your paintings like that. Also putting a little bit of colors as normally, of course, in a layer that is in the background. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. So I wanted to talk to you, for those that are interested. I'm giving away the PSDs, including the one of today, the PSDs of all my tutorials, all the tutorials that I do every weekend, including the live streams. I know some people won't like the live streams, but someone does. Right now I'm doing some Game of Thrones live streams, and what happens is that for only $2 the month in my Patreon page, you can download the full PSDs. If I do more than one, I just send it. If I do 3 PSD, I just send it, or 4 or whatever. I just send it in a package, and with the video, with the full process video, which is all that you see on this tutorial, but full, all of it, with no editing. You can see it from the start to the beginning to the end, from the beginning to the end. And you can pause it, you can see it, you can keep the file, whatever you want is yours. For only $2 a month, you can download about 4 videos every month, because I'm doing it every weekend. So thank you very much if you can do it. If you don't want to do that, but you still want to help this channel, what you can do is you can get the skin tutorial, which is a tutorial that I made few months ago, which is just a really detailed step-by-step guide, because the thing is, people were asking a lot for a easy process to paint skin. And well, I said, well, it's not easy, of course, but I can definitely give you step-by-step everything so you can learn how to paint it. Even if you don't know too much, you can achieve really good results. Of course, the key here is practice. But I promise you that with this material, you can at least jump ahead few steps, because I'm explaining everything little by little, step by step. And you can even have the line arts, because this material comes with the line arts, I'm telling you what colors to use where, because you can also have the skin tone palettes. You will have the 2 videos, full videos, explaining everything by detail, and you also have some textures that I use, all the skin tones, the line art. What else am I missing? Oh, the guide. This guide of 20 pages that I wrote is really easy. It's not that amazing, I think, but just to explain you more, just to explain you a lot more what you need to learn about painting skin. So if you don't want the Patreon and you want to support this channel, this is one way to do it. There's the Gumroad account on the description, and the Selfie if you have PayPal. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial. See you next week.